My Home Hero Episode 3 has just confirmed that this is not only one of the best shows that I'm personally following this anime season, it's clearly one of the most underrated shows of this season, and these are the series that I look for, that once, maybe a year, every couple of years, some show, sometimes the manga has a bit of a following, sometimes there's no following at all, and whether it's shows like Babylon or My Home Hero, they just click with me in such a way that really has me glued to the screen unlike any other shows, because there's nothing quite like it in anime, at least airing in any given season or probably the rest of the year. And this show has gotten better for me each episode. They've remained to keep the momentum going of a father killing a member of the Yakuza with a rice cooker to protect his baby girl, to then trying to cover up that whole murder, and now we see both mother and father having to deal with two very different situations, but somehow they find a way to not just go the John Wick route, because as much as I love my John Wick films, is this man really capable of killing the entire Yakuza in the traditional way? No, maybe one-on-one he can get a jump on a fool. So how is he gonna deal with a man about to stab him in the throat and pin all the blame so he can just at least cover this whole thing up? Well, how about I help you find him and we'll find out the real man responsible, and he's tying it together with all these lies that he's concocted, and I'm like, holy, My Home Hero Episode 2 had some Breaking Bad level disposing of bodies, and Episode 3 said, we're just gonna keep up the craziness just in a different way. This show is underrated AF, and I love it. Full live reaction available on my Patreon if you're interested in seeing my full uncut thoughts. I really love this one. I honestly thought after Episode 1, maybe it would be kind of like a fluke, because it's a kind of crazy intro. He kills a man with a rice cooker. Okay, maybe they're gonna go the route of he just kills every member in a crazy way, and, you know, he becomes a hardened badass. Well, that can be fun. This man just doesn't strike me as a hardened killer. More so, he did what he did to protect his girl, and he wasn't talented at it, and it's not like become a John Wick overnight. It takes years of training and being brought up in that way. So what were they really going to do to keep the craziness going? Well, it's this murder mystery where the Yakuza aren't stupid. They know something's up, and they realize the parents are hiding something. But the idea of having a script, so if we ever come into contact, we have more or less the same story that will be verified even if they split us up. It's smart. It's not something that comes from thin air. It's not like he's magically solving issues before they're there in a way that you can't predict. They literally had listening devices installed in their home. It's pretty much suspect and confirmed that at some point they probably will kidnap us or do something. So having a alibi makes a lot of sense. And seeing, honestly, for me personally, suffocation is like one of the worst ways to go. To see them, whether it's the mother with the plastic wrap around her face as she's forced to talk to them, and I mean, the lack of air, I'm surprised she didn't pass out. Or honestly, I think Dad had it worse. He basically had like a plastic bag duct taped around his neck, so hardly any air would be getting in there. Not only was he getting beat, so he was getting bloodied and coughing and just, using up his oxygen. The fact that he also had to breathe and talk, it was such an uncomfortable situation. The entire episode, both of these characters were more or less struggling to have air. And honestly, as a viewer, I kind of felt what they were feeling. I thought they did such great directing, and the moment when it looked like he got pushed off the balcony, I mean, I should have saw it coming. Like, I knew he couldn't die here, but I just figured it was all in his head, right? Like, he thought he was falling, maybe he was, like, going lightheaded because he wasn't breathing properly. The fact that he wasn't on a roof at all, it was just basically just a little bit above where they were to begin with, and he had a rope attached. This show's crazy, man, and I'm loving it. I think what these 3 episodes of My Home Hero has proven is that it's not a one-trick pony. It's not a show where they're just gonna go crazy and watch this regular salaryman start killing people because he's actually a trained hardened assassin his whole life. No, it really does feel like they're both relatively normal people who just, if push came to shove, if you had to kill for your daughter, could you do it? And could you support a man who did? And this family said, absolutely, bro, I'm a ride or die 100%. And I love how they're going about things so logically. One of the coolest things I think I've seen this man do is it makes so much sense. At first, I thought he was just putting up the newspaper as a way to like stop the smell from escaping. Like, I thought he was just doing it the entire wall, windows, doors, everything. Instead, what he does, because he has to get the smell away, is he cleans the walls, he then puts the newspaper over everything, and when he comes back the next day, he removes that newspaper, which has more or less absorbed some of the stank and he does it all over again. What a clever way to cover up the fact that a murder took place and you were storing the dead boyfriend's body in her bathtub. That is insanely talented and crazy and just so, I don't know how he came up with that, but bless those mystery novels, because it is doing wonders for the boy and coming in clutch. And it makes sense, right? Because it's not like you can just crank a window. The neighbors are going to notice something smells fishy, or dead that is, and obviously people would come knocking. So it makes a lot of sense of how they're doing everything, and I'm loving it. The concept of basically making the enemy of my enemy is my friend, making a lie so believable that spares his life, and now he's gonna be really thrown into the thick of it. I thought they were just gonna have him kill this man, and then in return he would then actually have to kill the entire Yakuza. But by making him seemingly an ally in this moment, it makes it so he realistically can continue this BS whole story in a way that keeps him and his family safe for now, but it's only a matter of time before lies become a little hard to keep up with and the truth eventually comes out. I think the direction they're going with the production remains to be engaging for me. While I definitely think you can argue any moment in the show might be able to be better produced, I love the aesthetic personally, and I really think they have fun sometimes with the visual directing, whether it's the initial shot of the home and they're masked up, they're ready to go in to attack the wife, or just the way they played around with a man getting beat up, interrogated, and tortured. He mostly was lying on the ground, he was either hanging upside down, or he was just worried he was about to be pushed off a balcony for his dear life. The way they made a scene with characters either pushing a woman to the ground and strangling her to near death, or a man getting beaten to a bloody pulp to get this information, they made a scene that, yes, had some action moments, but for the most part was just 20 minutes of interrogation, feel like some of the most thrilling and thought-provoking content. I had no idea how he was getting out of this. The entire time I was like, he has to, but there's just no way. Unless he John Wicks himself, but he ain't no John Wick, so he doesn't got a pencil. He's not gonna finish all these guys off with just a number 2 pencil. How are they gonna do it? And the fact that I can leave 3 episodes saying, yes, it's amplified in anime fashion to make it more exciting, but the logic of disposing the body, the reasons 2 normal housewives and house dads can just become hardened killers with no real remorse, makes sense given the perpetrator that they dealt with and the way they're keeping the narrative going. Honestly, I'm surprised they've pulled as many plot twists and holy I didn't see moments coming in 3 short episodes that feel vastly different than the previous moments, but still feel like it all lines up in a very thought-provoking story that's well planned out and not just doing things for shock value. It really feels like 2 normal people thrown into a world they didn't sign up for, but they're gonna be a ride or die for each other, all for their daughter, who it's kind of sick, but she was watching cat videos while all this shit was happening. It was kind of wild, but it's what I love about this show. But let me know what you're thinking. We're 3 episodes into this one. To me, it's one of the best shows of the season, but let me know what you're thinking, especially after the insanity that was episode 3 of My Home Hero down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell, of course, so you can get notified when I upload on the channel, and like I mentioned, full live reaction is available on my Patreon if you're interested. And while you're there, you can also get a video shoutout. So today, we have Devin Samuel, Ben Liu, and a Lunar. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.